All right, guys. Welcome to this Tuesday broadcast. Talkback Live, the Merc. Going to be talking about a few things. That's the latest topics of interest to me personally. So I'm not sure if these would be of interest to anybody else, but I find them interesting. So I thought I'd actually put them on the docket. Hang on a second. I'm trying to figure out how to turn this camera off. Show advanced. Okay, I don't seem to be able to turn this camera off. I'd like to. But anyway, yes, back to the subject at hand. So remember to like and subscribe if you're new to this video. Like I said, this is Talkback Live, sponsored by Curator, the application that you should have on your phones. If you don't get it now, iOS and Android Curator movie app, actually, if you search it on Android and the iOS store, where you play fun movie trivia to rate and review movies, amongst other things. It's basically like the Instagram for movie fans, if you're a real fan. That being said, this show is broadcast live and direct from the Merc's hideout weekday mornings at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 Central. I think it's 8 Central. I'm not sure whether it is 8 Central, but it's definitely 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Today we're going to have some very, very interesting topics. Very interesting topics. But before we do that, I'd also say that you should like and subscribe the page, as I said as well, and also follow the Instagram page, My Curator, on Instagram, which will be populated with updates from time to time. And I am actually still working on the Talkback Classics video, which is going to be Ghostbusters. That's going to be the inaugural. And I'm talking about the real Ghostbusters, not the 2016 situation that, whatever that was. But the real Ghostbusters movie from 1984 will be the first Talkback Classics video that I'll be doing. And as I said, look, this is something I've always really wanted to do for Talkback, for this platform, because, obviously as a movie guy, there's a lot of films that I really like, and films that I consider classics, and they're not necessarily what you'd find on the how do you say, the IMDb top 100, or you'd find on the AFI top 50, or whatever the hell, you know what I'm talking about. You wouldn't typically find these things on those platforms. So that's something that I'm definitely very interested in pursuing, just to chronicle my thoughts and the overview summaries that I have anyway for these classic films. So, like I said, look out for that video coming soon. So let's get into this. The first topic is Black Panther 2. Now, obviously, there was a major tragedy that occurred, in relation to this film that everybody's aware of. Unfortunately, Chadwick Boseman passed away of colon cancer, which was a very tragic situation. And, look, I don't like being fake, or disingenuous, I should say. I don't actually like doing that. So I didn't jump on the bandwagon of, saying that, I was such a fan, and it was because I wasn't really, so I felt really awkward about doing that, because in one sense I felt an immense sense of sadness over the situation, especially because the guy didn't really ask for any pity. He didn't really talk about it. He didn't tell anybody what was going on, and he just kept working and kept doing movie after movie, obviously dealing with this thing at the same time, which is pretty crazy, and it's just an extremely commendable way of handling it, and I think to some degree it probably helped him, because he was able to just focus on the things that he enjoyed, you know. So definitely RIP to Chadwick Boseman. And obviously then the question turned to what are they going to do, or what would Marvel and Disney and so forth do with Black Panther sequel, with a Black Panther sequel, if indeed there was going to, or there is going to be a sequel. At the time, obviously now we know that there is going to be a sequel, but I'm just saying that that was the question that people had, was whether or not there was going to be a sequel to Black Panther. Now, we know that there is, and it was planned to, get underway when obviously most movies have been affected by the coronavirus and the pandemic. And at the same time, there is the issue of casting, who is going to be playing Black Panther, seeing as Chadwick Boseman is no longer around to reprise his role. Now, I'm sort of in agreement with the way that, with people who have said that, look, you can't really recast him based on the way that this has gone down, how the first movie was received. It would be really, really awkward for you to recast the guy. I think that was going to always be an issue for a lot of fans, just out of respect and the fact that the movie, just because of the schedule, is going to be coming out so soon after his passing away. Listen, if there wasn't a schedule that Marvel and so on were adhering to, you would almost suggest that, look, you just put Black Panther away for like 5-6 years, and then after 5 or 6 years, I think people would be more comfortable with somebody reprising or taking over the role, pretty much like Heath Ledger. Like, imagine if there was a Batman movie coming out straight after, like a year or 2 years after Heath Ledger had passed away after The Dark Knight, which involved the Joker, and I don't think anybody would have been comfortable. Basically, you wouldn't have been able to make the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie a couple of years after The Dark Knight. It wouldn't have been received well at all, regardless of how well or how good the Joker movie ended up being. It wouldn't have been received well if you had a situation that Heath Ledger was replaced so quickly after his tragic passing away. So I think that is the issue that they've been wrestling with, and definitely now I think, it's still sort of rumors, but I think it's pretty certain now of how they're going to be handling the situation. But I think most importantly, there is now a date, of when they will be beginning production on the movie, and that is in summer 2021. So for all those who are not aware, that is when Black Panther is due to start production. And it's allegedly, and I don't know if this is true, it's supposed to be going on for 6 months, which is actually a pretty damn long time. So it's going on from basically to the end of the year, like from the middle of next year to the end of the year, they're going to be filming this thing. And I think that is a pretty long time, but I think, it's basically a way of incorporating all the possible issues that may exist as they film the movie, because we know that with the way the world is right now, you can't take anything for granted, and you've got to pretty much be ready for anything. So that being said, I think, look, the anticipation for the movie was always going to be very strong. The anticipation for the movie was always going to be very strong because of how well received the original film was, So I think that was always a thing that whatever they did, whatever they did, it was going to be something that was anticipated. Now, the question that, you really ask now about the whole situation is, if they're going to be handling this, and they obviously have to, there has to be a Black Panther, how is that going to be taken care of? Like, how is that going to be handled? I actually think that what they're doing, and I'll talk about what they're doing in a minute, but I think what they're doing is probably the okay. Let's just go with what they're doing. So, apparently, apparently, there's going to be they're going to handle first of all the Chadwick Boseman situation by CGI creating like a version of him, a digital version of him, without dialogue, apparently. So there's going to be no dialogue. And they're just going to obviously have a send off for him in the movie. I don't know how that's going to work story wise, like why he would just be going off. Is he going to die in like a noble death or something, or is something going? I don't know. But there's going to be they're going to handle it in that way, right? Now, obviously there were similar things that have been done in the past. You've had the way that Princess Leia was handled, when she passed away before Rise of Skywalker came out. So then they figured out a way of including her in that movie. And the fact that she passed away during filming of the Last Jedi. Apparently, they said that they'd filmed all the scenes with her. But obviously, when you watch the movie, you can see how they had to sort of cut around towards the end to create situations with her and Luke and like blah, 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 blah. So obviously, they had to figure things out. And by the third movie, she wasn't there. She wasn't alive. So they were using old footage that they had, as well as using a CGI created version of her, and so on and so forth. You obviously also had the what's his name in Fast and the Furious guy, Paul Walker. You had the Paul Walker situation, and that was actually one of the best ones, to be honest. I mean, that felt very seamless. Like when I actually saw that film, I was like, wow, these guys did a really good job in sending this guy off, because if you watch that movie, you wouldn't really be aware of the fact that the guy had passed away. Like you wouldn't actually know, if you hadn't been told, because they handled it so well that it felt organic to that particular film. So I think it's going to be a combination of both things for Black Panther 2 and how they're going to handle Chadwick Boseman exiting. It's going to be a combination of both things. I also think that how they're now going to handle the takeover is also interesting. So what apparently, again, this apparently, I don't know if this is factually accurate or not, but Shuri, which I think is his cousin or something in the movie, and M'Baku, who was his enemy to begin with, but then became his friend, who was the head of the ape people, the gorilla guys in the mountains. They're both going to become Black Panthers, and as a team. So, apparently, listen, I think, and again, this is what folks are saying. This is not necessarily the truth, but this is what folks are saying. That apparently they were thinking of doing Shuri, the girl, to become the next Black Panther, right? But because there are not that many leading black male positive heroic characters that are in Hollywood. I mean, there really isn't actually any. Like, it's Black Panther, I think. So anyway, for that reason, they were thinking that, okay, you know what? We can't just you've just established this character and then shift it away from the male Black Panther and make the female Black Panther the only Black Panther. So they're going to give the M'Baku character the mantle of Black Panther as well. So they're going to sort of cover both bases. I don't know whether that's really necessary. I mean, look, I don't think it's that bad a thing for Shuri to be the Black Panther, because you've already introduced the character. She was technically the closest person to him in the movie. Is it that big a deal that, you can just make other black male leads in other things, original material? You know what I mean? Like, I actually don't think this is one of those cases that, in spite of, people complaining about, women they're trying to just make everything a woman and it's not really organic to the project and that's why it's getting ruined. Yeah, that is true in some cases that we've talked about. But in this case, she's already embedded in it. And because of what has happened with Chadwick Boseman and everybody aware of what has happened, I don't think there's an issue with making her the only one. I think that would be a fitting thing. I actually think it's preferable for them to do that because I know that in the movie, did M'Baku really even want to be Black Panther? You know what I'm saying? I don't even think, I think it would actually be most organically believable to the narrative that existed if Shuri became Black Panther. That's just my opinion. And in fact, let me actually pull up what these guys are saying. Give me a second here. Let's see what these guys are saying about this. Because, you know, this was actually around for a while. Okay, let's go to CNET. Guys, let's go to CNET and check this CNET thing out. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, give me a second. Allow these below to record contents. All right, let's get this on the road. Unlock that. Oh, wow. Okay, so that's not going to work. Apparently, this isn't going to work. All right, guys. Oh, it is working. All right. Cool. All right, so let's actually take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. All right, so Black Panther 2, this is from CNET. Black Panther 2, everything we know in the wake of Chadwick Boseman's death. Marvel must eventually begin work on a sequel to the 2018 blockbuster without beloved star Chadwick Boseman. All right, as difficult as it is to envision Black Panther without Chadwick Boseman, it's something Marvel will have to confront eventually. The actor captivated audiences in 2018. Latest news filming in summer. Okay, this is what we talked about. As of November 20th, there was some news on a second film. Filming for Black Panther 2 now is tentatively scheduled to begin in July 2021, according to The Hollywood Reporter. A representative for Disney did not immediately respond to a request for confirmation, and THR isn't naming sources, but it seems a likely timeline. With word in late 2020 of 2 promising coronavirus vaccines moving forward, Marvel has to be hoping Hollywood will be cranking back into gear by next summer as the world tries to move on from the devastating pandemic. If ever Earth could use a superhero, it's now. The new Black Panther. Okay, let's get down to that. As devastating as Boseman's death is, there can't be a new Black Panther film without someone else taking on the hero's mantle. It seems most likely that the Black Panther title could pass to another character, and favorite has to be Letitia Wright's Shuri. She's Chala's sister. Okay, sister, not cousin. I made a mistake there. And royal family ties run deep. But Shuri can't just move into the part with no explanation. It's always possible there's unused footage from the first film or from other Avengers movies that could be spliced in to set up Chala's departure, or it could be addressed verbally without new footage of Boseman. There's precedent for honoring such a loss. Actress Carrie Fisher, yep, I talked about this, in 2016, and yet her character, General Leia, died in 2016, and yet her character, General Leia, appeared briefly in the 2019 film Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Fisher's appearance used previous footage and treated the actress and beloved character respectfully. Let's see, what's this? The rest of the character and a new villain. Before the news of Boseman's passing, the sequel seemed to be assembling a familiar group. Blah, 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 blah. There were several rumors about the film's villains. Some buzz that Michael B. Jordan would somehow return as Eric Killmonger, even though that might take some doing considering what happened to him in the first film. Yeah. Anyway, so there we have it, guys. That's where we're at. So, you know, look, I think that's cool. I don't have a problem with that, you know. I think that's, like I said, it's something that should be happening, and it's something that I feel shouldn't be overcomplicated. I personally wouldn't do two of these guys. I mean, I don't think that that's a good idea to do two of them, but if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. I just want to touch on something. I'm trying to find this. Let me see if I can find this. Ba 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 ba. Okay. No, no, no. Okay, anytime. Let's see if we can pull this up. All right, I can't actually pull this up for some reason. But let's go with this. Let's go with this. Open a new tab. All right, so what we're going to talk about now, I mean, actually, this is actually something that is important to me because of how big a deal the first movie in this particular franchise was. So, moving on, we're going to talk about Blade. Okay, we're going to talk about Blade. So, apparently, what we have now is them looking for writers for the movie. Kevin Feige is looking for writers for this picture. Now, I've talked about this at length, about the fact that Blade 1, in my humble opinion, and who the hell am I, but in my humble opinion, Blade 1 is one of the greatest superhero movies I've ever seen. I mean, that movie is, listen, and I don't know how many of you guys have seen it recently, but that movie is, the things that, what's his face? Wesley Snipes pulled off in that movie are outrageous. I mean, look, I have theories, and listen, me and Have Hope have talked about this a lot, and fat people as to why they messed Blade up, we have our thoughts. Let's just put it that way, right? But I would say this. That movie, for those people who have not seen the film, is one of the craziest. In fact, you know what? Let me even, I think I need to do this guy put some respect on this guy's name. Hold on, let me put some respect on Wesley's name here. Let me put some respect on this guy's name. Okay, where is he? Where is he? Where are you, man? Exactly. Put some respect on this guy's name. This guy regulated in that film, man. I mean, listen, I agree with you, Tail Steven. I agree with you. It's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. No, you know what? Let's say this, Tails. It's a flawed masterpiece because the end, the last act, that last fight with Frost, that wasn't very good, man. Like I've tried very hard. When you try to do mental gymnastics to make something good because you want it to be good, in my brain, I was like, man, this thing isn't that good, man. That final fight. Because the thing is, like, if you've had such crazy fights, remember the train fight, the fight in the nightclub, the fight in the apartment building against the familiar, that police officer who was a familiar, all of these sort of things. You've got so many crazy scenes in a movie. You can't end the movie with a fight that's crapper than all the fights that was in the other parts of the film. You can't do that. Like, so for me, it's like I was trying, and I've tried to, and every time that every time I watch Blade 1, by the time it gets to that final Frost fight, I was like, I can't watch this, man. Look, I have to give Blade is a 9 out of 10. I agree with you, it's a 9. It's a 9. And I tell people about Blade, and people just like looking at, no, not everybody, because obviously there are people out there who, listen, guys, make sure you join the Curator Network page, because I see that you're all on the Talkback YouTube page. right now, go and click and subscribe to the Curator Network page on YouTube, because I'm not always going to be putting videos out on here. So if you want to know when videos of Talkback, because Talkback has moved to that network, okay? So make sure you get over there and you subscribe to the Curator Network thing. But yeah, man, listen, I didn't like that. That CGI wasn't good, man. You know, everything about it, and even the way that the fight ended, where he kicked he was throwing all those syringes, and then he just did a roundhouse kick on the final syringe. It's a bit hokey. You know what am I saying? A bit hokey. It's very hokey. And in fact, the entire fight in the end of Blade 1 was just not. It almost. Do you know what it felt like, guys? It felt like they'd run out of money and they had to shoot that thing, and they didn't plan for it, so they just had to put whatever they had to put together. You know, I didn't listen, Danny. I didn't like that fight. I didn't like the fight leading up to Frost fight. Like, I didn't like it. Like, because okay, look, you can say you like that, but then compare that fight to the train sequence. Just compare that, and then we're not even going to talk about the nightclub in the opening. And for me, it's like your opening fight scene can't be so much better than the final fight. That's like action movie 101. Like, the opening fight should like whet your appetite. Do you know what that's like? Listen, let me give you an example. The opening fight in Matrix 1, you watch that and you're like, damn, man, this is some crazy stuff. But are you going to compare that to the fight against with Neo versus Smith? That fight was to the next level. That thing was to the next level. That's how you do that. You know? So please, I just didn't like, you know, the way that it went down. But, you know, look, anyway, I just wanted to put some respect on Wesley's name before I get into this thing, because people are just disrespecting Wesley, you know, unnecessarily. Like, I'm just like, and when I say disrespecting, not the fans. I mean, the fans know what's up. The fans know Wesley Snipes should have really come back. We know that. We all know this. Like, the guy, he's ready, he's fit, he's healthy, he's ready to move, ready to rock. They could have brought the guy back. And in fact, I would have appreciated bringing Wesley Snipes back as Blade and him introducing a successor. You know, even if you're going to bring Mashallah Ali, who's a fantastic actor, you know, like, that's actually a great choice. But to bring him in through Wesley Snipes, just to pay respect to this guy so he can get a final top-notch movie. You know what I'm saying? And to compound the fact that Wesley Snipes is actually a martial arts, like, he actually knows martial arts, which made a big difference to the quality of the films. Blade 1 is like, I keep telling guys, I'm like, you're talking about all of these other Marvel movies. Have you seen Blade? That thing is like, the only movie that Marvel has made that is even close to that is Winter Soldier. That's the only movie. Winter Soldier is the only movie that I'm like, oh, okay, you know what? This film is actually quite hard, man. It's a tough film, man. Like, Winter Soldier is a strong film. Like, that's the only movie that I saw. I'm like, okay, you know what? This is a strong picture. You know? All right. So, guys, remember what I said. Subscribe to the Curator Network, because I can see all you guys are on Talkback, and Talkback is now on that network. So you're not going to be getting the whatever things if you're not over there. So just move over. All right, look, let's get back to where we're at. So we now have, obviously, as we know, the new Blade. Now, the new Blade is, I'm happy with the casting. You know, I mean, look, look, the guy is a top quality guy, you know. So I obviously, when I heard it, I was like, damn, man, you know, he's not a martial artist. And I don't really like, the thing about that made Wesley Snipes' Blade so strong, it's like they brought a guy who actually does the stuff himself. So it was almost like getting bloody Scott Adkins or Michael J. White or bloody, what do they call himself? I'm not even going to put Michael Dudikoff in there, but like Michael Dudikoff, but you know, getting like Jet Li or Donnie Yen to be a superhero. And Donnie Yen, I mean, those people are way beyond Wesley Snipes, obviously. But what I mean is getting a guy, okay, for example, You remember when you watch Universal Soldier with, or the Universal Soldier Regeneration, or even Universal Soldier 1, but specifically Regeneration with Van Damme and bloody what's his name, Dolph Lundgren. The reason why that movie is so strong as well is because Dolph Lundgren actually knows karate. He knows martial arts. He's a black belt. So he actually knows he's trained. So he's actually doing all of these, a lot of these moves himself. So it actually has an impact on the quality of the action you're seeing on screen. And Regeneration is off the hook, by the way, guys. That fight in the building between Snipes and Van Damme and Lundgren in the building was outrageous. It's on YouTube. Anybody wants to watch that fight on YouTube, just Google it on YouTube. Anyway, so when I heard that they were getting martial arts, I was like, you know what? Look, the acting is now going to be on point. But the beauty of Snipes is that he's a great actor as well. So it's like, this guy was a great actor who also did the moves. The problem here is that, look, Marshall is going to need a stunt double, obviously. So the question is like, how much is he going to learn himself, and how much is the stunt double going to do? Blah, 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 yada, 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 oh, yeah, oh, whatever. That being said, they're looking for writers, so we know that they're now putting this thing together. Am I excited for it? I wouldn't say excited, because Snipes is Blade. Snipes is Blade. So even though I really respect Mahershala Ali big time, but Wesley Snipes is Blade. So how are you going? And so when you bring out something with somebody else, when the guy who is the character in everybody's minds is very much alive and well, how do you effectively, you see what I'm saying, guys? Like, I'm just like, because the thing is that when I'm watching it, all that's going to be going through my head is thinking about, man, imagine if Snipes was doing this. You know what I mean? Because Snipes isn't too old to be there. Like, so you haven't got that acceptance that fans have that, you know what, look, the guy is too old. He's over the hill now. So realistically, they had to get a new person. I don't feel like they had to. I don't know the reasoning behind doing this way, because I'm like, even if you want to transition, Snipes isn't that much older than, let me actually see this, because I don't actually know. Let me see, Wesley Snipes. Okay. It's okay. And Ali. 10 years. 12 years. 12 years older. All right, that's pretty big, because Snipes is 58, man. Yeah. All right, fine. You know what? Even though he's looking sharp, black don't crack, as they say. The guy's looking pretty sharp. I wouldn't have actually thought that guy was 58 years of age. I wouldn't have. But okay, he's 58. Mahershala Ali is 46. So Mahershala Ali is younger, much younger, actually 12 years. I mean, that's a lot at that age level. So I understand how, yes, you can't lead the movie with Snipes, obviously with a new sort of rebirth. But I really feel that he could have ushered in a new Blade. I really feel so. I mean, look, I agree with Tail Steve. Like, look, he does have blades in him, but I feel like because of the age, anybody who's a business savvy person would be thinking like, listen, we can't hedge ourselves on this guy for the future of this franchise that we want to have at least 3, 4, 5 movies. We can't hedge our bets. Listen, all you have to do is look at Sylvester Stallone. I mean, look, Stallone is go ahead pushing on 70, and he just released a Rambo movie. So in my view, I'm like, why can't you have Old Blade? What is wrong with Old Blade, And he's not even that old, because he looks young. But I'm like, what's wrong with Blade becoming the new Whistler? That's not a problem. I don't see the issue with that personally. I think that would be a really great way of bringing in a new guy. Is Snipes' Blade becoming the new Whistler? That's my opinion, as far as I'm concerned. But that's just the muck. Who the hell am I? But I actually feel that it would actually be a very, very good idea for them to go in that direction, Anyway, look, that's what they're doing. I don't really have much else to say about that. But let's see now. I mean, I want to talk about something else which I thought was pretty funny. Let me actually pull this up. Let me see if I can find it. This is just madness, man. Because I had no idea that this thing was even happening. Let me just pull this up. Hold on. Let me pull this up, guys. And I want guys to tell me if they knew about this. Did any of you guys know about what I'm about to post on the screen? Okay. I'm going to ask you if any of you knew about what I'm about to post on the screen. Did any of you guys know about this? Tom and Jerry, the movie? I had no idea. Maybe I did, and like it was somewhere in the back of my mind, and I just like blocked it out or something. But I'm telling you guys, I did not know that they were coming out with an actual Tom and Jerry movie. And then even if they were coming out with a Tom and Jerry movie, when I actually heard that there was a Tom and Jerry movie trailer out, my initial thoughts was that, oh, okay, it's a cartoon, feature-length cartoon of Tom and Jerry. And then I saw the trailer. Oh my Lord, guys. I'm like, come on. Tom and Jerry has a very, very specific concept to it, like a very specific aura. Let's not count at the fact that Tom and Jerry was extremely racist, by the way. Like, I don't know. Listen, me and especially Half Hope really like Tom and Jerry a lot. And we've been watching Tom and Jerry since I've been watching Tom and Jerry since I was a kid. But I remember even when I was young and watching before they started banning some of those episodes and taking them out of circulation, when I was young, like in the 80s, they were still showing those cartoons, like fully, like the completely racist Tom and Jerry cartoons on TV. And I remember I used to watch them and think that my brain hadn't really understood what racism was, but I knew that there was something wrong with what I'm saying, because I'm like, this is definitely making fun of me. Like whenever they'd get smacked shot with a shotgun or exploded or blown up or something, and then their faces would be pitch black with plaits, and they'd have like big red lips and big white eyes, and I'm just thinking that I'll be looking at that stuff and I'll be thinking that this is definitely making fun of black people, I think. But I was so young that I was like, well, I know that there's something wrong with what I'm seeing, but I don't know what it is. Obviously, I also didn't like the mammy nanny character, which was obviously racist. I was like, even at 10 years old, I was like, yo, I don't know why they're doing this, but this is definitely some racist stuff going on here. Because whenever the white owners would come to the house, they were always very prim and proper. Very nice and everything. And then they would leave, and the only human who would be dealing with the cat and the mouse is the nanny, the black nanny. That was the only human who actually interacted with them in a meaningful way, and it sort of brought her down to the animal level. I always thought that. I was like, why isn't that the black character is the only person who's like dealing with Tom and Jerry on like a bit, she'd be chasing them around the house with the rolling pin and like trying to catch them and blah, 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 and her voice and everything. It was crazily racist, but those episodes you can't even get anymore. But regardless, I have to be honest, man, Tom and Jerry is an absolute classic cartoon. Some of the stuff that happens in Tom and Jerry is hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. And we used to just think that, man, can Tom just win for once? Can this guy win? And I remember there were a couple of cartoons where Tom actually did win. But it's very rare, But Jerry messed Tom up so badly. It was disgraceful. Anyway, when you have something that's classic, right? And you want to turn it into, like, I don't even know why they want to turn it into live action. Because when I saw it, I thought it was going to be a cartoon. And I'm like, why is this a live action thing with the cartoon characters running around? This is not going to work, because the whole point of Tom and Jerry is that they're living in their own little crazy world where the humans don't even really know what these guys are getting up to. That was actually what was so funny about Tom and Jerry. It's like, they would get into their craziness when the humans were out of the house, you know? So I just like, man, this is, as soon as the trailer began, I was like, oh my God, this is live action. Oh, this is bad, man. I'm like, listen, I honestly, and I watched the whole trailer and I was like, yo, who is this for? That was my main thing. I was like, who's the audience for this? Because all the people who have nostalgia for Tom and Jerry would watch this trailer and be like, what the hell? Why would I want to watch this? And all the young people, maybe they're going for like really, really young, like 5-year-olds or so. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, that's the only thing I can imagine that they're doing. I think that they're doing that because I was like, dude, this trailer, this is bad news, man. Like, that trailer was bad. Like, I was like, this is bad. Like, you know what that's crazy? This is what you should never feel when you're watching a trailer. When you're watching a trailer and then you scroll up to the trailer window to see how much time is left. Because you're like, when is this thing is still going? It's not over yet? That's when you know things are not looking too tasty at all. Things are not looking good. Things are not looking good at all. So for all those people who watch this trailer, I mean, just to summarize, basically, Tom and Jerry are in this like Jerry moves to this hotel. Like they make a truce at the beginning and then Jerry double crosses Tom and Jerry now gets into this hotel and sets up shop, and then the manager of the hotel gets this woman and says that he hires her, and then he says that they have a rodent problem. And then at some point, the woman actually goes and knocks on the door, on Jerry's door. And then Jerry gives her a little card, his business card, and she goes that this is very detailed. And I'm just thinking to myself that, are you kidding me? So she's interacting with this mouse like a person, and she takes a card from them. Listen, I'm going to tell you this, right? I don't know what else is going to happen in this movie. That act has messed the whole film up. That specific thing, like just that scene, I was like, all right, that's over with. By the way, it's Tail Stevens, they are making a new Space Jam. That is happening with LeBron James. If you didn't see the announcement trailer, I'm surprised you didn't see the announcement trailer. But there is a Space Jam 2, and it's with LeBron. And I think they've either already filmed it or they're filming it. Like, they might have already filmed it. I don't know. But there is a Space Jam 2. I actually don't think Space Jam 2 is going to be a disaster because Space Jam 1 was really on the strength of Michael Jordan and just the concept of it. I think they're going to ride on that. And the idea of LeBron James, and he just won the championship as well. I think that might work. That might work because NBA now, they have so many stars now as well. I mean, it's not of the level that they did in the Jordan days, the kind of stars they had then, iconic stars, but they have so many stars now, they're going to throw in everybody in there. I think it's going to be okay, listen, we have to see the trailer, so let's see the trailer first. So I'm just talking from concepts, but the trailer, might change my mind. Anyway, guys, so let's get back to this Tom and Jerry business. So I'm looking at this trailer, and I'm just like, look, the fact that you've had this human, Space Jam 2, the Mask and the Joker. What are you talking about? The Mask and the Joker will be in it. Will be in Space Jam 2. Okay, I don't know what you mean there. Anyway, guys. So basically, right, once you do that, you have an issue. You have an issue. You can't have a situation where a human is chatting to Jerry like he's a guy, because then you've destroyed the barrier of reality that really made the cartoon so effective is destroyed when the humans acknowledge that Jerry is a super intelligent, almost human-like entity. When they bring, like, just everything was weird. When they bring Tom to the thing and they've hired Tom and Tom is going to be, and I'm just like, they're talking to Tom like he's a new employee. And Tom is just walking on 2 feet. Like, Guys, did you see this trailer? Tom is walking down the corridor with Chloe Grace Moretz. I think Daniel Pena. Is it Daniel Pena or David Pena? Daniel Pena, whatever his name is the manager. Just remind me on who that guy's name is, the manager. Daniel Pena or David Pena, whatever. Michael Pena? No, not Mike. Is it Michael Pena? I can't remember. Anyway, point is, she's walking down the corridor. Grace Moretz, Michael Pena somewhere. And Tom is walking like a guy, like a dude. And I'm just confused. Like, what is this? Is not this. If you understand what Tom and Jerry is, like, you can't do that, because Tom and Jerry was funny because once the doors close, they turn into like human beings. Like, they basically start going at each other. And then as soon as the humans come in, they just behave like, Tom has to behave like a cat. Like, that's the point. Like, Tom he's just a cat. He's just a cat. So I actually honestly believe that the only way you could have made a Tom and Jerry feature film is as a cartoon. Either that, or you would have to make him like a normal cat, even if he's in cartoon form, if you're going to have humans involved. And there is no way any human being should be interacting with Tom. So this means that she knows where Jerry, she knows where Jerry lives in the building, and she knows his door. Do you know that all you need to do is just open that little door, have your CO2 ready, or your mouse killing repellent or whatever fumigation tools ready, and just pump that little house he's in full of that thing, and he's dead. Why is she knocking on his door? Do you want to get rid of the mouse? Why are you knocking on his door? You kill him. You kill him. Simple as that. It's not rocket science, guys. So I'm very confused as to, I mean, obviously they're trying to have this like whimsical tone to it. So, I mean, maybe they're just trying to, it's just funny and I'm like, okay, but you're doing it based on a pre-existing IP, which inherently had a formula to it, which is how it's got all its fans and the reason why people like it so much. So you can't like completely change that and expect that things are going to go well for you. This isn't like Sonic the Hedgehog movie where you're taking it from a video game, and the video game wasn't a narrative really. So it's like you can pretty much do whatever the hell you want with the movie. But I mean, within reason, obviously, you've got to sort of adhere to the basic rules. But I don't know. I mean, I think this is a mistake. I don't know who it's for. I don't know why they're making it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who asked for this movie. Let's see, guys. What else do we have? What else do we have on the docket? I know that I was going to talk about. What was I going to talk about? Oh God. Deadpool 3. I was going to talk about Deadpool 3. I don't think I have time to do that today. I was going to talk about Wonder Woman 1984 on HBO Max today, but all this new news came out about Black Panther 2, so I'm going to do that tomorrow morning's show. I'm going to talk about Wonder Woman 1984, HBO Max, what this means for the cinema, what this means for that franchise, anticipation for that movie, so on and so forth. As well, I also want to talk about Monster Hunter. I just don't feel like that Monster Hunter deserves an entire show though. But I want to talk about that because I think that is actually quite pertinent to like. Listen, Paul W.S. Anderson. You know what the funny thing is about this guy? He has made 2 films that I really like. Well, not really like. One of them I think is great, and the other one I respect it. I respect Mortal Kombat 1 because at the time that Mortal Kombat 1 came out, video game movies were always trash. That was the first video game movie that I'm like, man, this movie is actually pretty. I think I went to watch that movie like 2 times in the cinema, twice. So I respect Mortal Kombat 1, twice cinema. And I also think that Event Horizon is great. That film, it's best watched if you know nothing about it. Because I went to watch Event Horizon thinking it was just going to be some space exploration movie. That movie blew my face off, man. That movie was outrageous. Like, so those two films, it's really those two films that make me go like, I can't just completely trash this guy, because I'm like, you know what? Soldier was all right. You know that Soldier was apparently supposed to be, wasn't it a sequel to Blade Runner? Like, wasn't it that supposed to be what all the replicants were on that off-world thing that the Rutger character, you know, the Rutger character escaped from a planet that I think was like what Soldier was. The planet that Soldier was, that Kurt Russell was put on. Soldier, listen, man, thanks for talking about Soldier, Rusty. Because I think I need to put Soldier into my Talkback Classics, because I don't know if Soldier is a Talkback Classic per se, but you know what? I can't put it in my Talkback Classics. I'm sorry. Nah, I can't. I was thinking about it, but I can't. No, Rusty, I think there is actually a real connection. I think you need to look that up. There might be a real connection between. So I think that was about replicants. I really think so. And I think, you know, obviously they couldn't name it that because it would be infringe on the Blade Runner rights or something. But I think it's based on a Philip K. Dick concept. Yeah, man. So, you know, that's all I got for today's show. Definitely tune in tomorrow. Like I said, I think tomorrow I'm going to be talking about Wonder Woman 1984, HBO Max situation. I think that's what we're going to do tomorrow. As I did say, the first Talkback Classic video is going to be Ghostbusters. I'm working on that now, so just look out, stay tuned for that Talkback Classic video, you know, where the Merc really gives his insights into why that movie is one of my Talkback Classics, you know, which I think everybody would agree with. And I think I'm going to go from Ghostbusters to either Beverly Hills Cop 1 or Back to the Future 1. I don't know. I think it might be Back to the Future. I think I might have to do that after Ghostbusters. I was thinking, because Ghostbusters is not above Back to the Future for me, no way, but I just wanted to ease into this, which is why I was doing Ghostbusters first, or I am doing Ghostbusters first, okay? Because the Sunday show, I mean, if I finish this before Sunday and it's released before Sunday, then we're going to do the Sunday show about Ghostbusters, you know, the Sunday bumper edition, excuse me. All right, guys, so remember what I said. If you're listening to this, or you have been, or you're listening to this during the live show or in the rerun on the Talkback page, make sure you get to the Curator Network page and subscribe to that, because that's where Talkback is now. So Talkback show is through that Curator Network, Qurator. Go over there, and that's where we're going to be. All right, guys, like and subscribe to that channel, and I am out of here.